There's a classic question brought down in the Shulchan Aruch that I'm sure everyone knows. We'll just expand upon for a few minutes today. When someone is asking at night, they want to know what the correct count is of the Sefirat Ha'Omer. What's the most appropriate way to respond? So as we all know, at night when we're counting, for example, last night was the 24th night. If I'm in Arvit asking what night is it tonight, the minhag is always to say last night was, referring to the night prior. They don't say tonight is the 24th. Last night was the 23rd. That's what we would have answered last night to anyone asking. The question is why. So keep it simple, the Shulchan Aruch explains that this is the halacha, and when someone's asking, they should respond by saying the prior day's count, and not mention today's count. And the halacha explains that if someone mentions today is the 24th, he's fulfilled his obligation according to some poskim, and he should count that night without a beracha, and continue counting in the future with a beracha. So the question is obviously why, and we've explained in the past that it probably has to do with the fact that Omer is midirabanan, so you might need less kavanah, or you already mentioned it. Those are a few reasons brought down. But let's speak 1 minute about a different scenario where what happens if someone says tonight is the 24th. So according to the Shulchan Aruch, they should count the full incorrect with the weeks also afterward without a beracha. But the Taz explains what happens if someone doesn't say today. Someone asks him, what's tonight? He says 24. He just says the number. He doesn't say today is. The Taz explains that this is not fulfilled the obligation because when the Chachamim instituted counting Sefirat Ha'Omer, there was a correct way to count. That today, Hayom, today is the 24th day of the Omer, which is 3 weeks and 3 days, for example. And if someone doesn't say the word today, it's lacking part of the correct way to count, and therefore it's as if he didn't say anything, and he would be able to continue to make a bracha that night and continue counting. Ovadia brings this down and also agrees with it and says a few sfekot. Maybe his double safek is perhaps he wasn't yotzeh without the intent to fulfill obligation. And even if we say it was yotzeh, maybe it's like the Taz that says you have to specifically say today is hayom to fulfill obligation. So that's just important halacha with regards to that. Nevertheless, Ovadia explains that if someone has negative intent, meaning contra kavanah, and he says, I'm not having in mind to be fulfilled my obligation right now. What's tonight? The 24th. Tonight is the 24th, and because he made that stipulation where he said, I'm not fulfilling my obligation by responding and mentioning the number tonight, it's okay, it works, and you may count with a beracha that night. These are just small nuances of the halacha. Obviously, it goes without saying that in a scenario like all of us, so we get to make the beracha and we ask, what's tonight? The response should be like the minhag for many, many years. Last night was the 23rd or whatever it was. Last night was the 24th. It's just getting into the detail of what happens if someone accidentally answered with that night's number. Have a wonderful day. Chazak u'baruch.